Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I'm back up once again by Jimmy, Jake, and like always, Fluff.
I was told to stop saying unfortunate.
What's up, y'all? He's still got it in there somehow.
This is unfortunately a match against Green.
Today's matchup is Fluff versus Trevor. Trevor couldn't make it for recording, so we got Jake here. Both him and Fluff are very familiar with Ginyu. I think Jimmy has some experience as well, but I do know both the other two have played it more than I think anyone else in this call has right now.
Certainly. Also, who is Trevor?
He's a guy who plays at our locals. You know.
I don't know this guy.
He's you mean Boris?
Who?
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, Boris the Goose. I remember him.
Yeah.
So let's get into today's matchup. It's Ginyu versus Trunks Vegeta. Fluff is piling the Trunks Vegeta deck. It's been a while since he's actually piled this deck. I think we've been seeing Jake do it a lot. So we're going to see a different point of view of it this time around.
So just immediately looking at like the leader spread, Ginyu is going to have a pretty uphill battle once Fluff can get a 3-drop Trunks established. Because even though Ginyu can kind of like set up its draws, like the main thing it wants to do is spam guys to the board. And if the first guy they play every turn just doesn't get to make an attack, especially if it's an important card to make an attack, like a Jace, which we just saw get charged there, it can really throw a wrench in Ginyu's operation, especially when the 3-drop Vegeta just comes right behind it and removes whatever got played.
Yeah. I wasn't sure because if he gets really going and is able to have like a really fire setup turn in these first 2 turns, I could be looking at a ton of pressure coming down. So it really is going to fall on his hits, like whether he can establish a Goldo to stack his deck. This Helix is going to put in some work, let him play a Raccoon. The Raccoon is going to let him play out another, which he chooses to go for the promo Ginyu. And now this isn't a ton of pressure, so I'm not totally worried about it. If he chooses to swing with all 3 cards, I potentially take 3 damage here.
Yeah, and you really don't want to take damage from that 2-drop promo, almost to the point of you might be willing to combo off your 1-drops. Maybe not your Vegeta, but
yeah.
Yeah, I did kind of overlook that Ginyu's go-off turn, as it were, can potentially be like on turn 2, like a turn earlier than Trunks Vegeta typically likes to start applying pressure, but ultimately I still think the ball is in your court, at least at this stage.
I think it colored correctly that I got to go first. I feel like had he been able to go first, he would have established a much more pressure. I'm not sure why he didn't pressure with the Raccoon and the promo there. Maybe he didn't want to lose them to the Vegeta, because we had played a match earlier in the day where the Vegeta put in a ton of work against his field. So I'm assuming that he's waiting to go big here.
Ginyu has the potential to get starved out. Like, if your opponent is smart, they can kind of keep you stuck around 5 life and just focus on removing your board till they have their kill set up. And there's really not much counterplay, at least in traditional Ginyu lists, for being starved out like that. So it looks like he's really valuing the alternate awakening condition here, where he's going to try and have one of each Ginyu Force and flip over that way. And for him to pull that off, he basically can't attack until he has all 4 on the table. And this 2-drop promo will count as whichever one he doesn't play.
Yeah, whichever one he can't find.
Correct.
Yeah, he's... I do decide to go ahead and get the Vegeta out here. I don't think at the time that I had a Trunks in hand to put out. And I did find one off the Vegeta here. So I want to go ahead and establish the Trunks as soon as possible. Even though it's going to tap me out for what could potentially be a very wide turn for Ginyu. But I'm pretty confident in my ability to be able to survive what Ginyu has to dish out for a turn 2.
It looks like you're at, 6 life still?
Yeah, I'm still at 6.
And you still have your detach material available, so that can potentially save you in a battle step.
And I've got a blocker. I've got a fair amount of cards in hand.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the Goldo established, and he didn't establish a Goldo, so his leader is going to be left to chance unless he drew a Goldo for turn. So I didn't feel like his ability to pressure was going to be that big.
Right. You really want to see that Goldo turn 1 when you're playing, even if it's just to use the from hand effect and stack your draws a little bit. It's really rough that he still hasn't found one.
Yeah.
How do you feel about tapping out on turn 2 in Trunks Vegeta? Because I feel like in some matchups it's the correct play, and in others it's just way too risky. How do you feel about doing it here?
I mentioned it earlier, but I felt really safe here, where he didn't have the Goldo established. I wasn't worried about him having a ton of consistency. If he swings with lead and gets lucky, he'll play another Ginyu Force member. But I'm willing to combo off a couple of my pieces here to keep from taking the promo. And like just there, he flipped up and it was a Helix Strike Ginyu. So that was a miss on his leader swing. He tapped out playing another promo, which I just tapped with Trunks. So he's only got a Raccoon left to swing with.
Yeah, and you'll just block it if he does. You just completely shut him down.
Yeah. So he gets almost no value out of this turn because of that, which is just really unfortunate not seeing that Goldo. If he had seen the Goldo, I would have probably left an energy open and not gone into that Trunks.
So if his first turn was just Helix Raccoon into Goldo and activate, you just charge one, evolve
Yeah. His potential to go wider is much higher than it is at this point.
Yeah, this is just crushing. Being able to swing at one and pop the other.
Yeah. The Raccoon's not going to provide a lot of pressure. I don't want him resolving these promos, so I'm going to force him to either combo out up to this or surpassing it. Even if I'm not doing a ton of pressure towards his leader, I'm really winning out on that exchange, whether he lets it go or he decides to combo off.
Yeah, and this is the stage of the game where every time you swing with lead, you really have to think about which leader ability you're going to use. Mm-hmm. Do you want to draw? Do you want to fish a copy? Do you just want to play a guy from the drop area and have that draw for you? Once you start thinning your deck out to this stage, like I think I see a Trunks in play, a Trunks in energy, and a Trunks in drop area. Like at this stage, like some of this math can really matter on how much is left in your deck. And it was smart of Fluff to know that there was still a target in the deck to go find with that Vegeta.
I do try to scroll the deck the first time I go, so I know, like, okay, I've got 3 Trunks in deck, so I can resolve that effect 3 times before it becomes play a Vegeta, draw a card, or just draw a card.
Yeah, when you play a deck enough, you could just you kind of get that information secondhand just off of searching out the first copy.
Yeah. So I knew that I was going to resolve that particular effect and wasn't worried about it. Now that I've established 2 Vegetas, I'm just going to be able to keep his board pretty clear. I did pass with 2 open energy here just because he's going to 3. I want to make sure that I'm sufficiently defended against anything that he has to offer. So here we see another Raccoon. He's going to use the Raccoon effect to play out another. Unfortunately, that burns my Trunks, so now he's got the Goldo on field, so he's going to be able to stack the effect for his leader, which already there in his hand, he kind of flashed his hand. We saw that there were applicable targets there.
That Jace is a really good hit at this stage of the game as well, because he needs cards in his hand, and if he stacks this order properly off of the Goldo, he can swing with Jace and grab another Ginyu Force, and even if that's just another 5k combo, that might get him out of a damage on your turn.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is he's going to swing with lead. He's going to reveal the top card of his deck. He's going to play it. And then I think he opts to awaken here. Because I believe
looks like he's already flipped over.
Oh, okay. So he is awakened. But I just Black Kamehameha the 2 cards down just to eliminate any pressure coming in.
Oof.
Yeah, yellow is really good at just making non-threats out of battle cards. There's not a ton of cards that can touch a unison or leader. Usually, every card of its type says choose a battle card and either unison or leader. So in a battle card based deck like Ginyu, yellow has so many good options against it. Whether it's Power of a Super Saiyan, Black Kamehameha, any of the multicolor super combos for the color, barring the new ones, but those are not out currently. So I feel like yellow just inherently has a very, very good extra card lineup for big battle card decks like this.
Oh yeah, it has tools for tall and tools for wide when it comes to like stopping battle card swings.
And Black Kamehameha is just an insane card.
Yeah, it's
So good.
There's matches where Black Kamehameha is not fantastic, and there's matches where it's really good. And this is one of those matches where it's just going to be really good. If I have another copy in my hand, I've got to be planning on using it next turn. He did put me under dormant this turn, so I'm not going to be able to clear out as much of his field as I would like. If I weren't under dormant, I could potentially clear all 3 battle cards and pressure his life or pressure that unison. But it is what it is. I've got to play under dormant, so I'm going to do what I've got to do.
Yeah, well, that'll clear some cards for you.
Yeah.
It's such a solid play.
And you just played right through the threat of Frieza there because you don't even care if this turtless sticks.
Yeah. He did opt to do it. He did opt to strike a life to play the counter blocker instead of having to deal with the dual attack or the double strike on the Turles, and I'm perfectly happy with that. It puts him at 2 life. It puts him at kill range for my next turn. I'll have multiple ways to apply a killing pressure at this point. So it's just surviving what he's got coming on his next turn. So the worst thing possible would be if he tapped 4 for the Majin Vegeta unison here. And I'm not even sure if he runs it, but
even if he does, the Trunks will rest it, so you'll get at least a turn with no pressure from it, and that'll completely tap him out. I don't know if that even saves him.
Yeah, it might not. He did opt to pop one of the Vegeta to stem the hemorrhaging of him losing battle cards every time I swing with mine. He popped the Turles and he popped the Vegeta.
With this life total, I can see popping Turles, but yeah, you have 2 Trunks on the table. Like even if you remove one, he's not out of the effect. Like, yeah, rough go.
Yeah, a lot of tough choices for him to make there. He does establish another Guldo here.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and then I'm able to establish a Poutine here. So I'm really just shutting him out of a lot of play here, which is really unfortunate. And at this point in the game, if I remember correctly, I can see Trevor getting pretty frustrated. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like, I can't blame him for that at all. This is such a hard matchup for the Ginyu player.
Like, how do you take a spam deck and you get spammed on? Like,
Right.
that has to be so frustrating. That's part of my frustration with Ginyu and why I ultimately gave up on the deck. There was a period of time where I thought it had a lot of potential, and I even played the deck some in tournaments during like Unison Warrior format events, but it just ultimately it has that 5 life, no battle cards failure point, and the Ginyu package takes up so much room in the deck, and so much that isn't Ginyu stuff ends up getting shuffled away. It's really hard to have a backup plan.
Yeah. It's very difficult to have a backup plan. Yeah, another Black Kamehameha here, putting in a lot of work. just really eliminating what threat he has on the field. I believe on that last Guldo effect, he whiffed. So there was no Guldo target to stack, which is incredibly unfortunate.
I don't think Guldo has to grab anything, but you mean there was nothing for him to put...
There was nothing for him to stack for the leader swing.
Yeah. I think I saw a Raccoon, but he's already got one in play. So
yeah. He decides to blue impulse here just to get rid of the Vegeta. So he doesn't have to deal with losing more battle cards, which kind of puts me in a position where maybe I'm forced to swing with my Trunks.
Yeah. Which honestly, like, it's awkward, but at this point, you don't really mind it that much.
Yeah, I don't. The main thing I want my leader swing to go through here. And I'm kind of worried about another blocker negate in his hand. He's tapped out, so I'm not worried about a Bupo. He doesn't have a Unison, so I'm not worried about Dormant. Just a blocker negate is the one thing that I've got to worry about.
Pan would be bad for you here.
Yeah, Pan would be really bad. But he doesn't negate, he doesn't have a response, so I activate the leader effect, so leader goes to 25,000 double strike. And I'm basically just going to be able to unload here.
Yeah, I think from here you just combo the world, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's what I would do.
Like I said, I will say I know he does play Pan, though, in the deck.
Yeah. I mean, Pan is the secret rare for that deck. If it goes right, Pan is basically just a free 40,000 that
steal something.
Yeah. I mean, it is just the right secret rare to play.
Yeah, it looks like you detached here and just pretty much go all in.
Yeah, that pretty much am just going to combo everything in. I think I'm keeping a Turles in the wings just in case he's able to combo out.
Yeah, especially if you leave both Trunks around. That might help you out.
I do want to talk about that Bulma that I comboed off. This matchup wasn't one of those that it really got to show itself off, but that Bulma is amazing for assuring your consistency. You get to look at the top 7 and find any Saiyan energy cost 3 or less. So if you open up and you dead draw and you don't have a Trunks or a Vegeta to start out with, a Bulma will get you out of that situation like 99% of the time. Or if you're stuck on 2 1-drops and you don't have an evolved target, but you've got a Bulma, chances are you're going to find your evolved target off that Bulma. I prefer running that Bulma over additional copies of 1-drops.
Like the Negate promo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been experimenting with the Negate promo, but I think you've sold me. I think I might switch over to Bulma.
Yeah. The Bulma has been really nice, and anytime I've ever bricked, I've had the Bulma to wrap it up.
With that being said, thank you all for tuning in today's matchup. Keep in mind, just buttons up below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
Really sorry to Trevor. I know that was a really frustrating match. Just kind of the rope. Sometimes you get matched up against something that you don't have a good shake at. As always, read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And as always, Fluff out.